Good morning, everyone. I'm in Tokyo, out for a run. It's morning time. It's beautiful along the Tama River here. And this is an episode of a new series that I've decided to create called Sustainable Nations Through the Eyes of a Traveler. If you want to follow along and see all of the episodes, please make sure that you subscribe and get notifications when new episodes come out. So here we go. We're going to start with Japan. I hope you enjoy.
The first thing we noticed while exploring Tokyo was how clean and litter-free it was compared to most other major cities we visited. And not only were the streets this way, but all the canals that ran through the city looked clean and were free of garbage as well. This held true to most of the places we visited in Japan. Of course, there are always exceptions. And there were times where we came across an area like this one in Osaka too. Despite there being a lot of people in Japan, there were far fewer cars than I would have expected, and so many of them were electric too. So for cities of these great sizes and populations, where you would expect smog and lots of air pollution, there was a minimal amount. I also want to talk about noise pollution, which never seems to get enough attention. As someone who is hypersensitive to a lot of things, I notice when it's noisy, and most of Japan was not. This is a very busy market, and as you can hear, it is pretty quiet. The large amount of electric cars played a big role, but I think the culture did too. It's considered rude to talk on your phone on public transportation. We rarely encountered any areas where there were multiple venues pumping music loudly, and we're just surprised in general how peacefully quiet it was. When it came to waste management, it seemed like they had a decent home pickup service for collecting garbage and recycling, and it was always really easy to find recycling receptacles on the street, but bins for other waste, not so much. Most of our accommodations, however, only had one garbage can and no separate recycling bin, so we usually put our recycling aside and hoped they would make sure it found its way to the proper facility. That's not to say we didn't notice an abundance of single-use plastics in Japan. You can watch more about that in episode 2. We also saw a lot of bins like this that sometimes said combustibles and other times just a symbol like this one. I was curious enough about this to look it up. Incineration is the most widely used waste disposal method in Japan. Roughly 1/3 of the incineration facilities also generate electricity. Apparently, exhaust gas is put through many stages of cleaning and monitoring to ensure hazardous materials like dioxin and mercury are removed and not released into the air. But I'd have to do some more research before I can get on board with this. All in all, considering their population and small landmass, I would say that Japan ranks fairly high in terms of sustainability for their pollution and waste management practices.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check back or subscribe to see all the rest. We're obviously now not in Japan anymore. We're somewhere where it is much hotter. These episodes will come in probably a couple of months, so stay tuned and make sure you subscribe. There's Kyle out there. See you soon.